Bust it up, you heard me?
Shalom family, this is yet again your boy, Jonathan Hebrew Prince, and I'm coming to you with another segment of what? Bust it up, you heard me. And family, what are we trying to bust up this morning? Well, let's read the screen and we'll go put that all in this proper perspective. The purpose of this channel is to intellectually, philosophically, psychologically, and spiritually combat the social, mental, and emotional bondage that the powers that be have inflicted on the masses. This channel is for the truth seeker, the freedom fighter, the spiritual warrior, and seeker of righteousness. For this is the day that Yahuwah has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, for his love, his peace, his kindness, and his strength endures to all generations. Hallelujah. 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 I want to jump right off into this thing. Before I do, I'll be less than a man and less than a thankful man without saying thank you to every single subscriber that has come up on this channel, and definitely hit the up check and subscribe. Thank you very much for your support. I pray that these messages are helping you, are keeping you, and will continue to open up your mind and provoke thought. I definitely want to send a personal shout out to my man 432 The Drop Radio, him and his whole team. Thank you for your support, for the love. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. And I pray that the Most High keep you, keep your family, and keep your team throwing out this truth. Hallelujah. Also, to the subscribers, if you feel this message is still potent and still needs to be thrown out to the masses, definitely continue to share the information. YouTube, Twitter, whatever you got, go ahead on and send it out there. Also, to the new people that's come to this channel, if you feel this information is where it is and where it's at, definitely hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you got some information that you want to throw at me, definitely give me the information. I don't mind putting it up on the screen. I don't mind giving you the credit. I do not have the monopoly on truth. What we're trying to do is we're trying to bust up these lies. You heard me. So that's what we out here, and that's what we're trying to do. So without further ado, I want to jump right into this thing. For this segment of Busted Up, you heard me. What are we dealing with? We dealing with what? Stop spinning and stand still. The earth is flat. Yes, you heard me say it. Stop spinning and stand still. The earth is flat. Now, a lot of folk gonna come at me right now like, man, what is you talking about? Listen, especially if you're a Christian, you definitely need to listen. If you carrying this Bible and you walking around saying this is what I believe in, then you definitely have to sit back and enjoy this ride. I'm not coming to you from a whole bunch of extracurricular works. That's a lot of people that does that. They have a lot of good information, but I'm coming strictly from biblical sources to show you that, let's look at the Bible. Let's look at what's inside the work. And if you claim this what you believe, then there's no way that you believe in that this earth is a spinning ball just flying around space arbitrarily and we don't feel it. So without further ado, let's look into this for a minute. First, let's look into what we are taught in our schools, right? Let's look at today. And all you got to do is Google this stuff. It's phenomenal, right? So let's check it out. When we're looking at it, let's look at the screen. And I typed in something simple. I said, how fast is the earth rotating around the sun? And this is the answer I got from Google, right? So I have 30 kilometers a second. That's how fast the earth is rotating around the sun. It says the earth orbits on average 93 million miles from the sun, right? Then it goes on, it talks about the astronomical unit. That's all cube. But let's go on a little bit further. It says it takes 1 year to complete an orbit. That's what we're taught, right? So we're talking about 93 million miles from the sun. It takes a year to get around the sun. The earth revolves around the sun at a speed of 18 miles per second. Family, that's fast. Boy, if I had a 40 like that, imagine I'll be a butter NFL if I had something like this here. But that's what we taught. So that's how fast we moving right now. Now let's wait for it. Can you feel it? No, okay. I can't either, but of course they have an explanation for that. But we're going to keep it moving, right? Now I had to look up and say, hey, how fast are we spinning? So look what I typed. I said, how fast is the earth spinning? right? Again, what are we talking about? This is what we talked about. This is what we learned in the school, right? This is regular science. What is this? This is, astrosociety.org is where this coming from a publication, right? So it says 1,000 miles per hour. Now, family, think about that. That's how fast this earth is spinning, right, on this ball over here. This is what we look like, right? According to science, this is what we look like. Okay, to make one complete rotation in 24 hours, a point near the equator of the earth must move at close to 1,000 miles per hour, 1,600 kilometers an hour. The speed gets less as you move north, but it's still a good clip throughout the United States. So right now, frame of reference, 1,000 miles per hour. That's what we're looking at. You looking at it, I'm looking at it, right? I'm like, all right, cool. That's what we taught. Now, this kind of threw me for a loop because I wasn't taught this one. I just happened to type in and I said, I want to know, what is the shape of the earth? Now, family, I've never seen this right here. I've never seen this shape. I've never heard this in school, but this is, coming out of Wikipedia. This is what we're dealing with. So it says, since the earth is flattened at its poles, which I have heard that before, and bulges at the equator, this is the shape you get, right? Oblate, right? Spheroid, right? So this is what we have. Okay. Now, question, family. If this is the way the earth is right here, right? This is the true shape. Then what is this right here? Because if you look at this picture and then you go ahead on and knock out this shape here, I'm sorry, family. Let's go back and forth. It does not look the same. Okay. But every picture I've seen look like this. This is the so-called NASA image, right, that we get this here. But then we go over here and say that, well, this the real shape of the earth. Then my question is a very simple question. If you're in space and you take the picture, how can it look like this when the shape is like this? Just a question, right? Okay. So that's what we're taught, right? But now I want to look at some things. Okay. Oh, and I'm gonna leave this one for a little bit later. So we got 1,000 miles per hour, right? That's how fast that's how we get our days and nights right there. That's how fast we're spinning. Then we're rotating around the sun at 30 kilometers a second, or 18.5 miles per second, which is extremely fast, right? And we feel absolutely none of it. Even when we get in the sky and we fly a plane, or those of you who have death wishes or just love to face death and overcome death and jump out of a perfectly good plane and call it skydiving and having fun with that. All that's happening. You're doing all of that and the earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. In some kind of way, we're able to do all these things in air. And you would think if the plane come off the ground and we spinning, then literally plane come off the ground, you just stay stationary for a minute and then come back down and it'd be all good, right? We don't have to fly anywhere, because how fast does a plane really fly? And can we really do without? Anyway, not about to go there, right? That's a whole nother topic. So with that said, let's keep it going, right? Let's deal with this. So this is what we taught in science, but I got some diagrams I want to show you. So you see how the earth look here. Let me show y'all a couple things. Let's look at the Bible. Now, I took this quick picture right here because I actually got this offline. And look what it says right here. It says Deuteronomy chapter 34. And this person reading about the death of Moses and coming out of 34. But look what's inside of this individual's Bible. Inside this person's Bible, you have this entire dynamic about the earth. So my question to you is, what was the earth in the Bible? And what was the comprehension of the ancients? Now, before you get uptight about the situation and talk about modern science, you have to comprehend one thing. Every single thing we know today, philosophy, theology, all these other ologies come from the ancients. A lot of the people that we subscribe as being these geniuses, like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and all these other individuals that we subscribe to as saying, okay, these are the pillars. That all comes from the ancient societies, the ancient cultures, the ancient people. So are you really about to tell me, or even try to conceive the notion in your mind that pretty much all the stuff that we know today, the foundation of that which we know today, and it comes from those ancient people? Are you really willing to say that those ancient people had no comprehension of what the earth looked like? When most of the stuff we have today, if not all of it, the fundamental foundation comprehension of that which you have today comes from them? Be very cautious, because then if you're saying that they didn't comprehend the shape and size and astronomy and astrology and the cosmology of the earth and the universe, then we have a problem with everything that we believe today and everything that we've built this society on as far as education. Even our modern philosophies, you have to definitely question all of it and come up with something brand new if we're going to question this aspect. Why? Because all of the stuff that we know today comes from them. It comes from the ancient of days. Those are the people in the ancient days of antiquity. So if you going to question that, now you got to question everything. Just a thought. So this is what the ancients believe. Now let's prove that for a minute. Let's go to our Bible. Let me go ahead on and downgrade that, and let's look at the scripture, right? So let's go ahead on and we're going to knock out verse. I want to go to Psalms. Matter of fact, where are we in right now? Okay, let's do Isaiah. Isaiah 48:13. As you can see, this is Isaiah 48:13. I'm going to use the KJV today, right? And look what it says. Mine hand hath also laid the foundation of the earth, and my right hand has spanned the heavens. When I call unto them, they stand up together. Question, family. Foundation. How could you have a foundation on a spinning ball? Well, that's just one verse. Okay, let's go to Psalms. Let's go to the book of Psalms, right? Now, I want you to just stay with me. I'm just showing you what the ancients taught, right? I'm showing you that if you carry in the Bible and you saying that this is what you believe in and you 100 with it, then it's going to pose some problems between the scriptures and really what's being taught in science today. Modern science, modern astrology and astronomy. Let's take a look at it. Okay. 102:25, book of Psalms, Tehillim. Of old hast thou laid the what? Foundations of the earth. Now I must tell you again, how can he lay a foundation of the earth? First of all, according to what we're reading here, what is earth? Earth is the actual land. So how did it go from land to being a planet? The entire planet, including the water. When we go to Genesis, which we're about to do, when you go to Genesis, he's not talking. He says he shows you the earth versus the waters. So how is it that now the earth includes the water, according to science? Let's take a look at it. Let's go to the book of Genesis. Let's go to Genesis. I'm feeling it right now. Let's go ahead on. We're going to ride this wave. We're going to ride this real good. Let's see what Yahuwah has to say. So in the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth, right? And the earth without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the spirit of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters. And Elohim said, let there be light, and there was light. Now, one thing I got to ask you, family. I got to ask you a question. It says, and this is totally separate, right? But this dawned on me, right? It says Elohim said, let there be light, and there was light. Question. If this is the first day, if you go down, it says in verse 5, and Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. Question. And this is to provoke thought and to help us all do for the research and to let you know that there's more to the story than what's being propagated to us. How is it that the Most High created light by saying, let there be light, and there was light? But at this point in time, there was no sun, no moon, and no stars because that wasn't created, I think, till about day 4. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Yeah. Let it sink in there for a little bit. Where did the light come from? Oh, it came from the Most High. Did he just say, did he say, let there be myself? And I will generate? That's not what he said. He was already here. Remember, in the beginning, Elohim, right, created. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So if he was there and he is light, which we know he is, but if he's light in the sense of what we're dealing with right here, then there would have been no darkness upon the face of the deep, right? But he said, let there be light, and there was light. Where did the light come from? If the sun, the moon, and the stars, that which we know to give us the light today, if that wasn't created until day 4, then where was the light coming from? Just trying to make you think, family. Now, let's look at something. Let's go down a little bit. Let's not tarry too much on this because I want to be quick as quick as possible. Now, when he called let's go to verse 6. And Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. So he's dealing with the waters and the firmament. Family, let's take a look at this diagram right quick. I want to show you something. What is that? What is this, family? Waters above the firmament, and then you have the waters below the firmament. Okay, so he says firmament, look at that, firmament, right there. That's doing what? Separating what? Separating the waters from above from the waters below. Right? Is that what it not just said? Let's take a look. Is that what it not just said? Divided the waters. So he put a firmament in the midst of the waters and it divided the waters from the waters. Right? Elohim made a firmament, divided waters which were what? Under the firmament and above the firmament. It was so. And he called the firmament what? Verse 8, heaven. He called it heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. Let's take a look. What is that, family? Stars, moon, the heavens, the heaven. All right, let's keep going. What all I'm trying to do is show you how biblically one diagram fits and the other one doesn't. Now, let's keep going. It says, and Elohim said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. You ready for this? And Elohim called the dry land what? Earth. As I told you, he called the dry land earth. So how do we get dry land being called earth here to now this entire segment being called earth, which includes the water? Don't worry, I'll wait. But I'm not going to hold my breath, because until you answer that, by the time you answer it, I'm going to die. So let me go ahead on and breathe on. There's no way you can correlate this. It doesn't work unless something has changed, which is the comprehension and or a lie. And what we're here to do, the family, we're here to bust up the lies. Now we're talking about this being absolute earth here. The entire segment, all of it. The dry land here, South America, North America, look at them, they're there, along with all this water, the Pacific and the Atlantic, and the rest of the oceans that's out there. That's all of it is earth. When we go to our Bible, it says in verse number 10, and Elohim called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of waters he called seas. And Elohim saw and that it was good. Period. End of the discussion. Let's go down a little bit further. And Elohim said, let's go to verse 14. It says, and Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let there be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. And let there be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And Elohim made two great lights. Now, family, I don't know about you, but I was taught that this moon reflects the sun's light. That's what I was taught. I don't know about you. Maybe I had a horrible school system, and that's quite possible. You know what I'm saying? The public school system wasn't the best, but that's what I was taught. The sun was the actual the light, and then the moon reflected the light of the sun at night to the earth, the so-called planet, right? But this is not what the scripture says. The scripture says what? Verse 16 says Elohim created two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And Elohim set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. Question: how is it that he could set these lights, stars, moon, sun, greater light being the sun, lesser light being the moon, and then he created the stars also to give light on the day, give light at night, lesser light at night, greater light during the day? How was he able to hang that in the firmament? If you go off of this diagram, where's the firmament? Where is the firmament? It doesn't fit. Let's look at something. Let's type in solar system. See what we get here, family. Let's get it. Let's get him. See if I can get a whole image here. So let's look at these images. Let's look at this image. Where's the firmament in the picture? Where is the firmament? How can you have a firmament? One, it's a whole bunch of spinning balls around the great light, which is the sun. Where's the lesser light? Right here. Look at this little lesser light right here. They go to the little moon where my mouse is. How is that a light when they're calling it a rock? According to science, based off of this diagram. This is a little better picture. How's that possible? When you read the scriptures, it specifically states that in verse 16, he made two great lights. The greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. And then he set them in verse 17, he set them in the heavens. Wouldn't this diagram just make a little bit more sense? Let's take a look at it. This will make a lot more sense from that comprehension. From our fathers, right? From our ancestors, from the days of antiquity, from the days of old. They go to moon, lesser light, sun, greater light. And what do we have here? We have the stars. Let me give you another diagram. Just kind of help out with the visual aid. Let me see what I have down here. Let me see. Let's go. Let's try. Let's look at this one. Because people will sit up there and say, well, how do you get your season? How do you get your days? Well, when you have this particular perspective, what do you have here? Oh, look at that. Firmament. Let's take a look at it. What's inside? You got your stars. You got your moon. You got your sun. You got your moon. You have your stars. You have all of this stuff in there. You have your waters that's collected together. That's called seas. And then you have your what? Dry land. That's called what? Earth. Right? See what else I have here. Kind of bring this home a little bit. See what I have. Let's see what I have. Let's even look at the ancients. Let's look at their comprehension. This is what I mean when you have to really go back and do the research and find out, hey, how is what we think today even possible when the Mayas, look at what the Mayas got right here. This is the Mayas. Right? Let's look at the Inca, the Navajo, Norse, Celtic, Chinese. Look at this wondrous piece of work. The Egyptian. This right here represents the canopy. This is a whole flat earth theme right here. Hebrew, we're right there. Hindu, none of which show a ball. And this is from the major ancient civilizations and their comprehension of what the earth was. Keep in mind that which we know today comes from these people. So take a look at it. Go do some research on it. Let's keep going. I'm going longer than what I wanted to do, but it's a lot of information. Right? So now we see the lights is put in the firmament. We see what the land was called, earth, versus the waters, which was called seas. We see that he divided the waters. We see all of these things. So this diagram that we have right where we at? This diagram of an earth This foolishness does not work. This just doesn't work. It doesn't work. All right. Now, let's keep going. I want to point out a couple of more scriptures. And for the sake of time, I want to show you. Let's go to Joshua. This is one of my favorite passages in scripture because it just makes it so plain, so clear about so many different principles. But I'm going to use this one today regarding the spinning, the so-called spinning, or actually lack thereof of this earth. Now, this is a very important passage. You know, I got to read a little bit right here because this is my thing. It says, then spake Yahushua, or as it says here, Joshua, to Yahuwah in a day when Yahuwah delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel, coming from verse 12. And he said in the sight of Yisrael, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. Question. If you go back and read this entire chapter up until this point, you'll find out he's in the middle of a war. And he wants the day to be prolonged. Now, let's go back to science. Science says what? Science says we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. This particular comprehension of our earth and how it's spinning is what does what? Deals with our day, 24 hours. So the earth has to keep spinning, and you get your night, you get your day. Correct? Along with the tilt, get your seasons. Okay, cool. Well, if Yahushua, son of Nun, wanted the day to prolong so that he can continue to fight, and he wanted the day to be prolonged so he can win on that day, then why would he speak to the sun and the moon to stand still? Why wouldn't he tell the earth to stop moving? Think about it. Let that marinate for a quick second. We're going to have a second of silence. One Mississippi. Okay, that's it. That's all you need to think. You need to think some more. Pause the video. What I'm trying to tell you is this. He, our ancestor, this phenomenal man that was able to have the Most High move on his behalf, the one that brought the nation of Yisrael into the promised land, who took over from Moshe. Keep in mind, these men was talking directly to the Most High. So you're not going to tell me that they didn't know the construct of the earth. When they're talking, unlike our abilities today, they were talking directly to the Most High, because these men was pure at heart, pure in love. He told, and he says, son, stand thou still in the midst of heaven. Right? He's telling it. Let's look at it again. Verse 13, and the sun stood still. So in verse 12, he tells the sun to stand still. He tells the moon to stop moving. And then verse 13 confirms, it says, and the sun stood still. Never said the earth stopped moving. Never said the earth stopped spinning. It says, and the moon stayed. So the sun and the moon stopped moving until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. It's just not written in the book of Yeshua. So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and has not to go down about a whole day. Then it says what? And there was not a day like it that before it, or rather after it, that Yahuwah hearkened unto the voice of a man, for Yahuwah fought for Yisrael. And I have so many more verses. I go to Psalms 96 and 10. I can go to Psalms 104 and 5. I can go to Psalms 93 and 1. 1 Chronicles 16 and 30. And I'm already at Yahushua chapter 10. And it's talking about how the earth is immovable. Those are that. And for the sake of time, I can't go to all these scriptures. But what am I trying to tell you today, family? What I'm trying to tell you is that we need to think about this a little differently. We need to stop spinning. And we need to stand still, because the earth, according to our ancient fathers, is flat. Let's check out NASA right quick. Give you a couple more diagrams. Look what we have here. Now, how is it that we have so many official diagrams of what the earth looked like? How is this even possible? One, they don't even fit the construct of what we read out the scriptures. It doesn't fit the cosmology and understanding of the astronomy, cosmology, and astrology of the people of antiquity. It doesn't even work. All these are official models starting at 1972 to 2015. My question is, why they all don't look the same? Why they all so? I don't get it. How are we coming up with so many likes here? So many different ways this earth is looking. Well, it's always changing. It's always, there are many different things like erosion. Nah, bro, you're not gonna give me that one. Got to come with something a little better than that. And if that's not good enough, then I got a good one for you. Let's look at this one. I love this right here. Excuse me, who took this picture? So how did they even know? So NASA already put out they can't even get back to the moon. So my question is, how do we make it so far out the galaxy that we was able to take this picture? Because this is far out. Who took that picture? Think about it. Or is this an imagination? Just saying. Because if we couldn't make it out this far, then how we took this picture? Just food for thought. What else do we have? Let's look at, in scripture, it talks about the four corners. Again, I can't get to all these scriptures, but it definitely talks about the corner of the earth, right? If you go there, Yahiquiel chapter 7, verse 2. Matter of fact, I got a little time. I'm got a little bit more seconds to knock that out. Let's go to Yahiquiel, also known as Ezekiel. Let's go to Ezekiel. Let's get him. Let's get him. What? Let's get him. Ezekiel chapter 7. Let's go to verse 2. Also, thou son of man, thus says Yahuwah Elohim unto the land of Yisrael, and the end is come upon the four corners of the land. Question: is there corners on the sphere? Well, does the sphere have corners? Typed it in. They have no edges at all. So how do you get a corner? How many corners are there in the sphere? 0. Look at that. 0. So how do you get four corners? How do you go through scripture when it talks about the angel standing on the four corners of the earth? If you go to the hijack and go to the New Testament where it talks about Revelation chapter 7 verse 1, and it says, I saw the angel standing in the four corners on the earth. How can you do that? How can you do that when on a sphere there are no corners, there are no edges? How does that happen? Help me, y'all. Help me, y'all. I don't get it. Help me, y'all. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. I don't get it. Let's look at it. Let's go ahead on. I'm at the bus. I gotta go. Revelation chapter 7. Where we at? Verse 1. You know what I'm saying? And look what it says. After these things, I saw four angels standing on the what? Four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. How is it that they're standing on the four corners of the earth if the earth is a sphere, when it says that it doesn't have a corner at all on the sphere? I can tell you how, because that's not the picture. This is the true diagram. Well, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4 hijack looking angels. But yet and still, what are they standing on? 1, 2, 3. Is that four corners? And what do we have in the middle? See, some folk don't remember this diagram. I remember this diagram when I was a kid. I remember looking at this. I remember when they were phasing this out. So let's look at it. What do we have going on in here? We got a rock here. We got something else over here. We got this circle, which the Bible speaks about a circle, but it doesn't say sphere. And Isaiah talks about the circle of the earth. And as you just read, we talked about the what? The four corners where the angels stand. Interesting, isn't it? So, last but not least, for a little treat, you think NATO don't know what's going on? Quite ironic that this is the NATO's flag, isn't it? Let it think, let it marinate, let it marinate, let it marinate, let it marinate. So family, that's it. We're going to go ahead on and just roll on out. You know what I'm saying? Letting you know that, hey, we got to think about this thing another way. Because what are we doing? We busting up these lies. Trying to make you think, trying to open up your mind. We're going to stop spinning. We're going to stand still because the earth is flat. We're going to bust this thing up. And what are we doing, family? What is the purpose? Why does this matter? The purpose is to intellectually, philosophically, psychologically, and spiritually combat the social, mental, and emotional bondage that the powers that be have inflicted on the masses. Once again, this is for the truth seeker, the freedom fighter, the spiritual warrior, and seeker of righteousness. If you like the message, give it a thumbs up. Spread the news. I want you to think more. Use your mind more. Stop being indoctrinated. Don't let them put the foolishness in your mind. No matter what you learn, question everything. What's up is down, and what's down is up. What's left is right, what's right is left. Remember that, family. If you can remember that, you can read anything, get past the hijack. Much love to you. I pray the Most High keep you. I love you. Shalom.